Hey, we're the Glidrive team, and I'm Hassan.
I'm Andy.
I'm Rami.
And I'm Allie.
So, on a typical day, how long do you spend driving, whether it's to work or to the store? On average, Americans spend an hour on the road. This may not sound like a lot, but it adds up and becomes a large waste of time, which could be spent resting or working. With the Glide Drive system, vehicles are made easily accessible and available to users. With an autonomous driving feature, the discomfort of having a stranger in the vehicle is eradicated. The interior design has plenty of workspace, including a desk, Wi-Fi, and power outlets. Coming from different backgrounds, as the founders of Glidrive, we have combined all of our respected skills to create our system. We are designing an app to portray our Glidrive system and a prototype to visualize the features for maximum efficiency on the road.
So, the background of the problem is that people waste a lot of time in traffic, and this leads to a massive loss in workforce, productivity, and economic loss. So, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on average, every person in the United States spends 8 hours and 22 minutes driving every single week for their lives. And this means an extra workday every week. So we're basically making your 7 days a week, 8 days a week. And this extra days are going to increase the GDP by 14% and address issues like productivity, quality of life, and hunger. So coming up with a problem statement, the issues to address are effectively using the time on the road, constructing a more comfortable interior design, making our vehicle have the smoothest drive, and eliminating the discomfort of having an unknown driver. So we combined these issues and came up with the problem statement of how might we create the most comfortable and efficient method of transportation over land.
In our design process, we first started with making sketches and storyboards. So our first storyboard is focused on how a user would utilize our Glidrive app in order to order a vehicle. And then once the car arrives, they have amenities which allow them to work on the way to their destination of choice. In our second storyboard, we highlighted a user's perspective, beginning with his struggles with wasting time on the road, and then hearing about Glidrive, which he then uses and becomes more efficient with. When we began sketching our product, we focused on the interior with workspaces for productivity, and the exterior being welcoming and easy for users to recognize. In our sketches, we emphasize the implementation of sliding doors, glass roof, and a loading platform, which would allow users to easily exit and enter the vehicle. And we wanted to focus on 3 main aspects in our design. So first, we wanted to ensure that our users felt comfortable and safe while driving or while riding the Glidrive car. And they should be able to work, rest, and eat comfortably while on the road, preventing any motion sickness that could prevent them from being able to complete work. Also, convenience was another large factor in our design. Users can be able to reserve a Glidrive car through our app, allowing them to access a car whenever they need. And we also wanted to focus on having the commodities that users need to work on the road, such as Wi-Fi, power, and smart TVs, which would add value to our vehicles as well as benefit the users.
So this is the original layout of our frame. We chose the teardrop design because it was the most aerodynamic and efficient shape. We knew it was going to have an electric platform, and we wanted to put the batteries in the bottom of the vehicle, so that goes underneath the floor within the chassis. This shows a very simplistic layout. It would be completely modular and on hydraulic actuators that come up from the floor, allowing you to customize the interior based off of your needs. If you needed a high capacity layout, you could have many more seats retracted. If you needed a collaboration space for a business trip or something, you have a desk or a table to work with other people on the go. Some barriers that we had to address were that autonomous vehicle legislature must change. Level 5, which is complete autonomous function, is not currently legal. However, we expect that to change within the next 10 to 20 years. Self-driving cars are also very new to the public, and so people are skeptical of whether or not to trust it, as well as the issue of infrastructure not being created yet to support this ecosystem, such as battery swap centers and automated vehicle maintenance. All of this taught us basically that people need to see this thing implemented on a large scale over the course of many years to gain its trust. And then to also that people would only want to use this for fleet vehicles. Private ownership of transportation is a thing of the past, and we've discovered that through things like Lyft and Uber. Our platform gives people access to vehicles instantly anywhere that our network reaches, and maximizes convenience. And then we wanted to bring as many amenities to the people as possible, bring the office to the car so that you can be as productive as possible. This breaks down our 3 C's: comfort, convenience, and commodities. We wanted the design to be as modern as possible while still being cozy. We wanted to be able to call it anytime and have access to this in a plethora of different ways, whether it's an ownership model or rideshare. And then we wanted to have every amenity. We wanted to have everything you would have in your home or your office, such as Wi-Fi, smart TV, a voice assistant, things with very simplistic interfaces that allow you to be very productive. So this video is an example of electromagnetic suspension that would be installed on the vehicles. A contractor called Clear Motion has been using this for many years. They bought the software from Bose and have developed it on all independent suspension vehicles. And then finally, our prototype, we have 4 150 horsepower electric hub motors on the vehicle, as well as 2 60 kilowatt hour batteries. The thing is supported by electromagnetically dampened suspension, and the cabin rotates on the 2 gray stripe bearings that go down the sides of the vehicles. This allows the occupants to negate lateral accelerations and not even feel corners. And then the things that the vehicle is equipped with. And that is the Glidrive car.
Okay, I think this is a good time control. Are you end? Is it the presentation end?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I think now you can move to the Q&A session. So let's start with the 5 minutes. So can you see the question from the class? Yeah, you just checked, and then yeah. So please pick the question that the student asked. Maybe you can highlight who is asking that question, then try to answer it.
Malik, so his question was, how soon do you think a novel transportation method similar to yours could begin to operate in our world? It's completely reliant on how quickly the software is developed, as well as the legislature changing. And I think we will see things be introduced on a large scale in terms of fleet vehicles in the next, 10 years. I think 5 is pretty optimistic.
And I just saw the question from Yan Do, and he asks, what are the projected prices to rent out the service? It's basically going to be just a bit more expensive than Uber. So we'll just have an app, and from that app, you'll be able to call the service. And if you also wish to to purchase the car for yourself, that's going to be an option. But the prices are subject to change according to the tech we're going to use and the prices of different elements. So, but we can say that the prices to rent is going to be similar to Uber.
Regarding Emily Garcia's question on how someone with a disability would use our vehicle, if you saw in the prototyping, there's a loading area at the front of the vehicle, which would be easily accessible for people with even disabilities to use the vehicle when needed.
For Atharva's question, the question was, is the use case just for transportation to and from work or transportation outside of that? We wanted to create multiple different sort of settings that could be used. There could be some for work or just for comfort or long drives. So there will definitely be settings for use apart from work transportation.
Answering Rob Matthews' question, how do you ensure the materials used on the desk will not shift and move during the drive, i.e. papers, notebooks, things like that? So the whole concept is that the vehicle itself tilts into the corners so that you don't experience those accelerations. You instead feel that as a vertical pull on your body or on the things on the desk. So physically, things wouldn't be able to move on the desk because they wouldn't have any forces being applied on them in lateral motion or in lateral directions. So you would be totally fine. You wouldn't spill your water or anything.
Answering Nikki Shakuri's question, it is asked that, do you have any ideas for gaining user trust in the earlier stages of putting your product out there? So we believe that we're not going to be the only product, and like when the autonomous drive 5 becomes legal in like all the world, then people are gonna just trust it, and they won't have any problems. Like think about when you're on the plane, you just trust the autopilot for the entire trip, and like you don't have any problem with it. So basically, this is gonna be the feature, and the people are gonna learn trusting in it.
So we looking at what inspired the body design by Bonnie Ruan. So pretty much we designed the teardrop design for the vehicle because it creates the most aerodynamic, and it's good for our system to in order to prevent the motion sickness overall.
Yeah, I would like to try to ask the questions. I can see that one of the slides, it mentioned about the design point of focus, 3 C's. And I think this is a very good user table to lay out all the aspect that you focus in your design. So I want to know what is the source of information. Is it from your survey, from your interview, or from some other source?
So it's from a combination. Some of it is
Okay.
from survey info. We interviewed several people throughout this process to get insights into what would make them feel most comfortable, what they're most worried about, what the use cases would be. And then also with our guest lecturer, these are a lot of the critiques that he had. And he told us to focus on very, very specific things, being an expert in, say, one thing like comfort or convenience or the commodities that we offer.
Yeah, I think this is a very good summary of the things. I have a suggestion. Maybe you can add the small remark down below is the information is collected from survey or information is collected from interview, because it is good to indicate to the reader, know, okay, where is the source of information? Because by looking at that, I would think, are you looking for some literature or something else? Because it is good practice to put the source of information down below. Yeah, overall, I think it's a very good information there. Yeah, thank you very much. And I think this team handled very well in the Q&A session. And I hope this is kind of, we just tested out what is the best way, but I think this is good for everyone.